Kakadosh Boker Tov, Shavua Tov. We're just continuing with the halachot of Shabbat. If you remember, we were speaking about a goy that's doing a melacha for you on Shabbat. Now we're going to speak about the concept of Kablanut. What exactly is this referring to? So imagine right now you have a Jew that he gives a melacha to a non-Jew to do for him, and he's going to pay him Kablanut. Kablanut means he does not pay him per hour, he pays him for the job. So once you finish the job, I don't care if the job takes you 1 hour, 5 hours, 10 hours, or 20 hours, it's all the same for me. I'm paying you for the job. So therefore, according to this, if you're going to do this, if it's going to be something which is talush mina karka, which means something which is tangible, movable, so then what happens is you're allowed to give it to him, and there's no problem whatsoever, even if he's going to do the melacha on Shabbat, and even if you gave it to him close by to the Shabbat, because the goy is not doing the melacha on Shabbat for himself, he's just doing it because he wants to get the job quickly. Imagine right now he's got a weekly job, and now I give him something right before, and now he wants to finish it as quickly as possible. So he's doing overtime, or he's doing whatever he wants, and he's doing it on Shabbat. There's no problem. Why? Because I'm not telling him to work on Shabbat. Again, remember, I can never tell the goy work on Shabbat. That is prohibited. But if he's doing it on his own, and he's working on the Shabbat, and I'm paying him Kablanut, so therefore it's going to be permitted. Now if he gave him the melacha before the Shabbat, in order that he could actually has enough time to finish it before the Shabbat, so therefore it's going to be permitted, even if he doesn't tell him that he's going to pay him. Right? Why? Because it's obvious that he's going to pay him. Now, 1 second, when I gave it to him, he could have finished the entire job before the Shabbat. So, for example, it's an engineer, all these things. Now, he's got enough time to finish before Shabbat. Now, he didn't want to. Now, he wants to save it for Shabbat because now on Friday afternoon, he wants to take it off. That's his problem. That's not my problem. I'm not telling him to work on Shabbat. Remember, you're never allowed to tell him to work on Shabbat. Now, he comes and he says that if he tells him, what happens if the goy comes and he tells him, listen, I'm doing it for you for free? So he says it's also going to be permitted. Why? It doesn't exist a case where a goy, a non-Jew, will do something for free if there wasn't a benefit. There had to be some type of a benefit. You were nice to him, he knows that you're going to give him something afterwards, whatever the case is. So in any case, he's always doing it for his own accord. He's not doing it for you. So therefore, when he comes on Shabbat now and he's going to work, it's because he knows very well he's got something to gain. It does not exist that he's just I'm just going to do it for free, and then he's working on Shabbat for you. Now he comes and he says, however, though, again, as we already mentioned, this cannot be that as long as you're not telling him to work on Shabbat, because if you're telling him to work on Shabbat, it's going to be a problem. Plus, if it's going to be mechubar and befarhesia, which means now like this. What until now we were talking about, let's say you give him a suit, you give him a something, and they don't even know that it's a Jew. Meaning if I walk by his store and I see him working on a suit, do you think I know that this is a Jew suit? I go by a mechanic, right? And all of a sudden I see a car. You think I know that it's a Jew's car? Now there is going to be a problem. What happens if it's going to be something fixed for a house, for example, a house, or a car that has your name on it? Right? It's got the name of your company. Now we know that you're the owner of the company. What is your company car driving around on Shabbat? So therefore there it starts problems of maritime. What does it mean maritime? There it starts the problems of people are start saying, 1 second, you told the goy to do something on Shabbat. Why? Because I'm walking around, I see your car, right, being driven around all over. What's going on? So now you can't say, listen, I'm going to have to be the second that you see such a thing, it becomes a problem. So therefore there's going to be already a machloket Sfaradim and Ashkenazim. What happens if everybody does a Kablanut? Which means what happens though if everybody does it as a job, that they pay per job, they don't pay per hour. So therefore, if everybody does it that way, why am I going to suspect that all of a sudden with this guy, you're paying him per hour? So therefore, if I come and I tell somebody, build me a house, now everybody knows that you don't pay per hour when you build the house. You come, you take a contractor, and every contractor comes and he's paid for the job. Now, that he pays per hour, that's not my problem. My problem is I'm paying the contractor, and the contractor, I pay him per job. And that's the way the majority of the houses are built, whether it's around here, the area, or anywhere else. So therefore, if it's going to be something which everybody does in such a form, it's going to come out a machloke between the Ashkenazim and Sfaradim. According to the Ashkenazim, the fact, right, that there's still a maritime problem, it's prohibited. Which means the fact that right now people are going by, they're saying, this Jew went and he's now getting people to build his house on Shabbat. What is this? It's not proper, this and that. And therefore it's going to be assumed mishu maritime. If you do remember in Shitat Maran, and this is what Rav David Yosef came and remember he gave a special shiur here, right? The last time he was here, if you remember, what did he say? He said, according to Shitat Maran, if the majority of people in the city, they come and they do the Kablanut, which means they come and they pay per job, Therefore, what's your suspicion? You told him to work on Shabbat. It doesn't matter for the guy to work on Shabbat or not. He's paid per job. He could finish the job in 1 month or 4 months, right? The way here it is in Florida, he'll tell you 2 months, it's really 6 months, but that's just the way that it is. But what the concept is that the fact that you're paying for the job and you're not paying for the hour, there's no problem of maritain, and therefore it would actually be permitted. So that again, that's going to come out of Machloket, Maran and the Ramah. There will be a lot of differences. For example, once it happened that a restaurant called me up and they told me, Rabbi, I wanted to do this. I went and I said, yeah, but 1 second, you're a restaurant, you're under a kashrut agency. The kashrut agency is run by Sfaradim and Ashkenazim. So you cannot come and do something which is for Sfaradim if it's going to be against Ashkenazim. So for there, you would be prohibited. So meaning it depends obviously on the circumstances, but it's very important just to understand that there's going to be a difference when you pay someone per hour or if you're going to pay them as a job. Usually paying as a job, there's no problem of the Shabbat, other than sometimes there could be a problem of maritain. If you're going to pay him per hour, so then he's the extension of your hand, which means he's now your shaliach working for you per hour, and then it would actually become a problem, and then we'll have to continue. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of halachot to do with these things.